So, talk about a surprise update. I was gonna take a break from this game, but then Dead Cells is the game that just keeps on giving. And today we're gonna take a look at the brand new update, Break the Bank, which updates the game to version 2.8. Now, I do believe that with all the past updates, this has got to be the longest wait we've had, the alpha version of the patch versus the official one. So let's get started, and boy is there a lot to cover. So first and foremost, this update brings the bank biome to the game. The bank can appear at any time during your runs at least once, except not before bosses, of course. It is unlocked when you beat the Hand of the King at least once, which is pretty easy to do. Should you choose to enter the bank, the items in the shop will have the same quality as the best biome in that stage of the game. So if you enter the bank instead of ancient sewers, the quality of weapons you find in the shops there will be that of the weapons you find at the ancient sewers. The bank also contains one less scroll than the best biome, but it also contains a guaranteed curse chest. The bank features 3 new enemies. The the agitated pickpocket, which just really likes gold and wants all of it for itself, so make sure to get its grubby hands off of you before that happens. The Gold Gorger has got to be one of the most annoying monsters I've seen in the game so far. Luckily, it is exclusive to the bank, so that's good. The Gold Gorger, much like the pickpocket, will collect gold, and once it collects enough, it will grow even bigger, up to 2 times. And boy does this thing hit pretty hard, so this is probably going to be your #1 priority when tackling the bank, is to make sure these things don't grow as much. And last but not least, the golden kamikaze bats. It's basically the exact same as the regular ones, except it drops money instead. So next up, I'm gonna do something I've never done before in the history of my update overviews, is that I'm going to go through the new weapons and mutations, but I'm also just going to give out my tier list rankings for them straight away. First and foremost, we have the Gold Digger. This is a survival-only weapon. It will give you gold every time you land hits with it, and will do crits if you have over 12,000 gold. I'm gonna put this one in the A tier. I think in terms of damage-wise and design-wise, it is very well done. And when I discuss the next weapon, I'm gonna mention just how powerful the Gold Digger can be when used in combination with this next weapon. And that is the Dagger of Profit. You land critical hits for 3 seconds after picking up gold. So I've tested this in the alpha version of the patch. What you can do is you can use the Gold Digger, put it in your backpack, and use the Porcupine mutation to roll through enemies and then automatically give you crits. So this, in my opinion, has got to be one of the best designed weapons in the game, if not the best designed weapon. Before, I used to think that Snake Fangs was the best, but now, I don't know. This is, in my opinion, how you design a brand new mechanic and actually make that mechanic really stand out. Because, if you haven't noticed, with the Dagger of Profit, there are actually multiple ways to satisfy the critical hit condition. You could use Greed Shield, you could just sell some items on the floor, or you can also use speed boosts to run through the biome really fast and keep up your crits. So that being said, this one's definitely an S tier weapon. Now, I should note, they did nerf this weapon in the official patch, because if you go back and watch my alpha overview of the patch, the Dagger of Profit had way faster attack speed, so it has been nerfed. However, I don't think this is that significant. It is still really powerful from what I can tell. Last but not least, we have the Money Shooter. This is a tactics-only weapon. It will fling a bag around your character and then fire a single shot. However, while this does hit pretty hard, it will use up some of your gold to fire it, and if you have no gold at all, you cannot use this weapon. So I have not yet unlocked this weapon in the official patch yet. From what I've saw in the trailer and the alpha version, every time you fire it, it will take up 150 gold. If this is the case, I'm afraid that if you just use this weapon on its own, it cannot sustain you. Which means if you just keep using this weapon, you're gonna need to use some other supports in tandem with the Money Shooter, or you will eventually run out of money, which is never good. You don't want to run out of money, both in Dead Cells and in real life. And even then, I don't feel that the damage is that good, so I'm gonna put this one in the B tier. It is okay. I do think the concept is very fresh. I think that Dead Cells benefits a lot from having a wide range of weapon variety. And I think this does a pretty good shot at it. Though, if you can just buff this so that every time you fire it, it will take up, I don't know, 100 maybe even less gold, then it will be very, very good. Next up, we have Midas Blood. I am almost positive that's how you pronounce it this time because I did get it wrong in the alpha patch. You gain gold whenever you lose health. Now, this is one I probably cannot really give a rating right now because I haven't played with it that much. The thing about these 3 mutations is that because they all fit into a very niche situation of gaining gold in a way, it's a little bit hard to evaluate them because you would probably not use them in normal circumstances. Gold plating. So this one got nerfed in the beta patch. Whenever you take damage, you lose gold instead of health. So before, you could actually survive curse chests with this, and yeah, they realized it was totally busted, so they changed that pretty quickly. Now you will still die if you take curse damage. That being said, I do think this will become pretty staple in endgame boss fights. It's kind of like emergency triage in a sense that you can essentially take, I don't know, 2 or 3 extra hits as long as you've saved up quite a lot during your run, which shouldn't be that hard. So this is another one I can't really give a rating to unless I try it out for myself, but I do predict that people are gonna use this one quite a lot. Last but not least, get rich quick. You stack bonus gold by killing enemies while you have a speed boost, and once that speed boost ends, you will cash in the money you obtained while the speed boost was active. So this really encourages a quick playstyle, which is nothing new in Dead Cells, but I would say among the 3 mutations, this is probably the one that will get picked the most in the early game, because gold in the early game is kind of scarce. You really want to get those weapons for your build right away, so I do think this will see a fair amount of use. Stuff to note about the bank is that there are some mechanics to it that are exclusive to this biome. There are 3 keys, or at least 3 levels that you can go to in order to access the next level of the bank. You have to find the key in the previous level. There is a parkour challenge in there, and if you reach the end, you get a pretty cool outfit, so why not? And on top of that, if you choose to buy from the shops in the bank, I would say always anticipate that a mimic will jump out at you because these things can hit you pretty hard. I would say out of all of the monsters in the bank, this has got to be the most dangerous one. So speaking of the before mentioned outfits, there are 2 new outfits to the game. I'm not sure what is the unlock condition for the other one. It is the robber outfit as well as the gentleman's outfit, which both look pretty fresh. Finally, some changes to existing mechanics in the game. You can now train against the last servants fight in the training room, which is something that the community also suggested. Now it's finally a reality, so that's cool. Go and get your no-hits, I guess. Now you can study their moves to your heart's extent. Next up, the Vampirism got a rework. Now it sacrifices a percentage of your max health to gain Life Leech on your melee attacks. So this one is really hard to judge because I have never used the previous version of Vampirism before. Some people say it kinda sucks. I can applaud them for trying to do something different, but the thing about Vampirism is that if you use it and you don't gain the health that you lost, you basically just went into debt. You just used a skill that reduces your health, which I'm not sure if that's good, but if some genius out there can make this work, I'll be happy to know. Lastly, increased War Spear damage. I'm not sure how significant this changes. I've never done a War Spear showcase before. It was already pretty good before if you ask me, but maybe this is now the time to finally do a War Spear showcase. So there were some other balancing as well as quality of life changes, but I'm not gonna go too much into them. Anyways, enjoy this new biome. Since it can appear at any point during your run, it must have been really hard to balance this biome. But I appreciate the fact that the devs are still continuing to support this game. I will play this game for as long as they keep updating it. That being said, I am a bit busy with final projects. It is the end of the school term, but I am working on a pretty big video, which will probably come out in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for that, and thank you all for watching.